Have you ever wondered what it's like to solve a mystery? Imagine you're Detective James and your day begins with a puzzling surprise. In the heart of the city, a single red rose lies at the foot of James's office door. An ordinary sight for most, but not for a seasoned detective like James. With it, a note, simple yet foreboding. The game is afoot. Just like that, a seemingly innocuous morning turns into the start of a curious investigation. James, a man of intuition and experience, doesn't take this lightly. He picks up the rose, its velvety petals whispering a story yet to be unraveled. He tucks it safely into his coat pocket, his mind already working through the possible implications. What might seem like a mere flower to others is the first piece of a complex puzzle to him. With the first clue in hand, he's off to unravel the mystery. But what he doesn't know is that this is no ordinary game. Following the trail of the rose, James finds himself at a local florist's shop. This is no ordinary florist. The scent of thousands of flowers mingles with the faint hint of damp earth, creating a heady cocktail that almost masks the underlying tension in the air. James approaches the counter, catching the attention of the florist. She's a stout woman, with hands weathered by years of nurturing nature's beauty. Her eyes are sharp though, and she scrutinizes James with a glance that tells him she's seen more than her fair share of interesting characters. He presents the rose to her, watching as her gaze flickers over it. Her eyes widen slightly, and there's a moment of recognition. She remembers this rose. She sold one just like it recently. James holds his breath, anticipation curling in his stomach. He's on the right track. The florist describes the man who bought the roses. He's tall, with a scar that stretches from his left eyebrow to his cheekbone. A chill runs down James's spine at the description. It matches the notorious criminal known as the Rose Killer. The Rose Killer, a man whose signature is as chilling as it is poetic. A single red rose left at the scene of each of his crimes. A symbol of love turned into a symbol of fear. James feels the weight of the situation pressing down on him. As the florist finishes her description, she hands James a receipt. The Rose Killer had paid in cash, but the receipt had the date and time. It's another piece of the puzzle, another lead to follow. James thanks the florist, his mind already racing with the implications of this new information. The Rose Killer is back, and he's left a trail that leads directly to him. With a potential suspect in mind, the stakes are higher than ever. Time is of the essence. The game is indeed afoot, and James knows he needs to move quickly. The Rose Killer is a master of deception, and every second counts in this deadly game of cat and mouse. As James gathers his team, a chilling discovery is made. The scene shifts to the doorstep of the city's mayor's office where another red rose has been left. It's a mirror image of the one found earlier, yet this one carries an even more cryptic message. The note attached to this rose wasn't a mere proclamation of the game being afoot, it hinted at a secret hidden within the petals themselves. As the city holds its breath, James meticulously examines the rose. To the untrained eye, it's just a rose, a symbol of love, passion, or even regret. But to Detective James, it's a puzzle piece in an increasingly complex game. He delves deeper, peeling back the velvet petals one by one. And there, tucked within the folds of nature's beauty, he finds an unexpected revelation, a microfilm. The microfilm, a relic of the spy era, seems out of place in this modern game of cat and mouse, but it's not the medium that matters, it's the message it carries. The film, when magnified and decoded, reveals a series of seemingly random numbers. But our seasoned detective knows better. Nothing in this twisted game is random. The numbers, when deciphered, unveil a list of specific locations scattered across the city. A chill runs down James's spine as he recognizes these places. They are the haunting crime scenes of the Rose Killer's past victims. But why lead them back to these places now? Is it a taunt, a confession, or a trap? Unraveling the mystery, James realizes his opponent is not just a killer but a mastermind. The Rose Killer is not just playing with lives but with the entire city. The stakes are high, the clock is ticking, and the next move is theirs. With a list of locations and a killer possibly on the loose, James and his team are in a race against time. The game is afoot, and the next move will determine not just the outcome of this dangerous game, but the fate of the city itself. From one crime scene to the next, James and his team find themselves in a twisted scavenger hunt. A chilling breeze sweeps through the city, carrying whispers of a deadly game played by a ruthless killer. As the sun sets, the city transforms into a labyrinth of shadows and secrets. Each location on the list is a chapter in this grim narrative, a tapestry of blood and roses. Abandoned alleys, quiet parks, bustling streets. The city becomes the stage for this macabre play, every corner hiding a clue, every shadow concealing a secret. The cryptic messages left by the killer guide their path like a twisted breadcrumb trail. Deviously crafted, each clue is a taunt, a challenge. The killer's audacity is chilling, his confidence unnerving. He's not just murdering his victims, he's flaunting his deeds, turning this manhunt into a morbid treasure hunt. As they scurry through the city, the weight of the clues and the urgency of time press down on their shoulders. The tension is palpable, the stakes impossibly high. The city watches with bated breath as their protectors dash through the labyrinth, chasing a ghost who's always one step ahead. Their journey leads them to a place where the city's pulse fades into a distant hum, an abandoned warehouse on the city's outskirts. It stands like a relic of forgotten times, a monument to desolation. This final destination, the end of the line, promises to hold the missing piece of the puzzle. The warehouse, cold and silent, guards its secrets well. The echo of their footsteps is a stark reminder of the grim task that awaits them. The air is heavy with anticipation and dread. The final showdown is imminent. The stage is set, the actors in place, and the curtain is about to rise on the grand finale. With every clue, the puzzle becomes more complex, but the final piece awaits at an abandoned warehouse. The twisted scavenger hunt is reaching its climax. The question remains, will James and his team prevail, or will the killer have the last laugh? At the end of the hunt, a gruesome sight and a shocking revelation await. James and his team find themselves at the final location, a desolate warehouse on the city's outskirts. As they step inside, their hearts sink. A young woman lies lifeless, surrounded by a dozen red roses, a chilling echo of the rose killer's signature. But something doesn't sit right with James. The scene feels too contrived, too perfect. He knows the rose killer's work, and this feels different. This was not the work of the rose killer, but of someone else. A puppet master pulling the strings from behind the scenes. As James scans the warehouse, a glint of metal catches his eye. A hidden door. With a rush of adrenaline, he pushes it open to reveal a small room. Inside, a man sits, startled by the sudden intrusion. It's the man from the florist's description, the alleged rose killer. But he's not the mastermind. He's a pawn, trying to prove his innocence by following the clues, just like James. As the pieces fall into place, James realizes the horrifying truth. The real killer had been using the rose killer as a scapegoat, leaving a trail of red roses and cryptic clues to mislead them. All this while, he had been continuing his gruesome spree, unnoticed. Swiftly, James apprehends the man, a wave of relief washing over him. The real killer, the puppet master, is finally behind bars. The game of cat and mouse ends, the twisted riddle of the red rose solved. But as James looks out at the city, he knows this is just the beginning. The game of cat and mouse ends with the real killer behind bars. As the mystery of the red rose is finally solved, James knows that this is just the beginning of many more to come.